welcome back to the channel. So today we're obviously in the garage again, and we are going to be discussing what we feed our worms during the winter, which actually also is the same thing that we do during the really high heat point for the worms in the summer, because they just slow down their activity. But we want to make sure that they are happy, that they are getting the food that they really enjoy. So I'm going to show you what some of those things happen to be for our worms, and I hope you find this helpful. Let me go on ahead and get you into position and we'll get this video started. Okay, so obviously we have our worm bins here, and then I've got a collection of different items. One of the things that I have here is going to be some oat grounds. Now this is not the whole oat, this is just sort of like the leavings, and it's usually pretty cheap to purchase in stores, and you can oftentimes get it in bulk, which is what we did here. Worms really love oats, so if you are looking to have really fat and sassy earthworms, oats are a good way to go, and I will show you what I do with the oats here in just a moment, because there's a little bit of layering that's going to go into our worm feeding. Now, another thing that they love is avocado. Typically, most people don't give the avocado shell, but I go on ahead and give the avocado shell. I go on ahead and I bury it down about 2 inches into their compost, and they seem to just love to curl up inside it. It takes a little bit longer to break down, so it's more of a slow food for them. I also will include the brown bits of avocado. I didn't have very much in this avocado that was brown, so I don't have any of that in here, but if you have any mushy bits in your avocado, you can definitely give them that. This is one of their favorite things ever. Next favorite thing is going to be banana peel, and that's what we've got here. And then we also need to give some grit. Didn't give any grit last week, so we're going to use eggshells, and all I'm going to do is crush this up nice and fine. Worms do not have digestive tracts, so you need to give them grit in order for them to be able to do any breakdown of all of the microbes and everything and the bacteria in there that they naturally eat. I also have a slightly squishy apple here that we will be dividing, so that will also be a slow food. The banana is going to be a little bit quicker. They always seem to go through that banana really fast. And then the other quick one is going to be the oats. They love oats, especially when they're needing something quick and that they don't have to work on as it breaks down. Oats just break down very quickly in the soil, so they can go in and get all of the microbiome and bacteria and eat that, because that's what they do. They don't actually eat the produce. The produce has to start breaking down, and then they start eating on the produce. That's why you give them bad produce. All right, let's go on ahead and get into our worm bin. All right, so we've got our worm bin opened up here, and one of the first things that I always check whenever I am coming into a worm bin is going to be the moisture level. And if I notice that the moisture, particularly up here where I have all of the browns, that's what this top layer is, and it looks like I might need to add in a little bit more browns on top. But if they are dry, I will go on ahead and I will use some distilled water. You do not want to use water just out of the tap. Anything with a chlorine base could potentially kill your worms, and you really don't want to do that, especially after all the love and care that you have given them. But our moisture level here feels really good. So the second thing I'm going to look for is see how far they've gotten on what I put in at the beginning of last week. And it's been, oh goodness, about a week and a half now since I've been in here. But I gave them quite a bit of food And it looks like they're actually pretty happy in this bin. And we gave them quite a bit of oatmeal, just a layer on top last time. Now from bin to bin, you may notice some differences, and that is normal and that is okay. So don't be surprised by that in the least. Looks like we've got a little bit of avocado shell still down in there from the last time. Yeah, still got some avocado shell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on ahead, and these guys definitely need some grit in here. So we're going to give them the shell of 1 egg. And you can kind of see I'm just crushing it up in my hand, as small as I can get it. And I'm just going to sprinkle that on top there. And it looks like a lot of the worms are pretty surface with the oats being up here. They've really been enjoying that. You can kind of see the oats are breaking down here. That's what all of that is. They're not going to be happy that I'm disturbing them, but that's okay. A little bit of disturbance for the sake of food is all right. So there's no banana in there. I'm going to put some banana peel in. Now, depending, these are a little dried out, which is fine, but depending on the state of your bin, because you don't want to overfeed your bin, okay? That's the number one thing that you can actually go wrong with, is giving too much goodness. So with the banana, as with the avocado shell and basically anything that you put in here, the smaller you break it up, the quicker it's going to break down. So if it looks like they've got food that they're working on currently, I usually leave things a little bit larger and then just put it down a little bit deeper, because it's going to break down slower and it will be there probably the next week for them to be munging on. But this one doesn't seem to need any oats whatsoever, so we're not going to worry about that. And the moisture level is perfect. You want it to be able to pack in your hand and keep a little bit of a form without dripping any liquid. That is the correct texture. So let's move on to another bin. All right, so we've got our Nightcrawler bin here. This guy's a little bit drier. Just gonna spritz it, give it a toss, and we've got a bean sprout growing up in here. If you have something like that happen, don't worry about it. Seeds happen, especially for us here. So I'm just gonna put it down there and it'll be worm food. But it looks like they have gone through all of their oats. And let's see. Oh, they're very not happy with me. They're working on a little bit of banana from last week. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to do a layer of oats and some grit for these guys. So once again, a whole eggshell. And crushing it up really fine. Last week had given them used coffee grounds. That's an option for grit for them, and they do enjoy coffee grounds. Okay, so there's that. Now, I'm going to take the oats, and I'm just going to do a very light layer here on top. So you can see it's not even covering all of the surface. It's just a little bit of extra oomph in their diet when they're in a lower production mode. And the texture of that is awesome. Let me see if I can grab a handful here so you can see what the texture. Oh, just found banana peel again. So they're not fully done with the banana, but get that guy back down in there. Don't want to squeeze them. So see, we got some nice healthy worms in here. They are very happy and very active, so that's good. But you just kind of want to try not to squish all these worms in here. We're loaded. It looks like we might need to go on ahead and sift, but you kind of see I've got a little bit of a wedge here, and that's a good texture and moisture level. So we're just going to put the lid back on and call that one good, and then check on the other two. Okay guys, that is really all there is to it. Honestly, caring for worms is way simpler than caring for any other critter I've ever worked with before. So they are perfectly happy. It looks like their food level in each of the bins is just right. We had some things that we needed to put in fresh, so we put banana in fresh. But otherwise, they were still munching on what was there from last week. So grit it was. Of course, our night crawlers are going to consume a little bit more. They have a quicker turnover when it comes to the food. So we went on ahead and we added a few more oats, but there were still bits of banana peel and bits of avocado, and it looked like a little bit of apple possibly still in there. So I didn't add anything other than the oats, just to kind of beef things up a little bit for them and help them to finish out the rest of the week. So if you guys have any questions about farming worms, feel free to drop them down below. I will do my best to answer your question as quickly as I can. And guys, as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.